You're watching America's newest Christian television network. We're the Gospel America Channel.
This is Missionary Gail Richardson, and I want to welcome you to The Struggle is Real. Yes, we're talking about the struggle that we go through every day, the struggle to just live a Christian lifestyle in today's society, and just the struggle of being a Christian. And today, I am more than grateful to have this young man with me who I've known for most of his life, but really excited about what God is doing in him and through him. And this is Redeemed to so many, otherwise known to me as my Sean, but Redeemed. I have to give him his props. Y'all understand? The struggle is real. And we're going to talk today about his struggle. We're going to talk about the struggle of being young in this society and what God has blessed him with and the mission that he has sent him on. Redeemed, glad to have you here today.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
And so excited about what God is doing with you and through you.
Appreciate
You
that.
know I'm very excited about your CD.
Yeah.
Auntie is a fan. Yes, Lord. I said I play it in my car, and I know the words to most of the songs, and I can't say that about much about what's coming out today, but
absolutely,
definitely when it comes to you, I know your music because I know where it comes from.
Yeah.
So I want you to share with our audience today some of what it is that makes up your ministry.
Well, as you've already stated, I do music. I do production and musicianship in the gospel hip hop arena. I also write for other artists who sing or may rap. I help them with choruses or verses for their music as well. Do a little beat production, stuff like that. But in addition to that, I'm also a minister, which plays a major role into the type of music that I curate. It plays a role in all of the things that I do as far as my mission work for social justice, my mission work for the kingdom of God, mission work for my own ministry and my church. So it's a lot of elements that comprise what I do. So, we can talk about any of those facets.
But we're going to try to see if we can get all of them in there.
Let's do it. That's what I'm here for.
First of all, you come from good stock.
Mm-hmm.
I know your mom and dad very well.
Yeah.
And we're family.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all in the family of God. And so, yes, I consider you my nephew.
Yes, and my auntie.
Wonderful. Love to be loved. And the ministry that you're a part of, tell them about your church family, your father, your mom, and how you got started.
Yeah, so my dad is the pastor of the church that I attend. Shout out 2nd St. John's Missionary Baptist Church, Brooklyn, New York. We hear Greater. Also known as Greater, And my dad's been the pastor for most of my life. He started pastoring when I was 3 years old. So he's actually in his 28th year of pastoring, which it's hard to do in anything. I think it's hard to be a teacher for 28 years. It's hard to be a fireman for 28 years. It's hard to be a therapist for 28 years. I don't care what you do. 28 years is a long time. So salute to my dad for sticking it through and for continuing in his pursuit of what God has called him to. And we go to a small church here in Brooklyn, New York, but it's a lot of love in that place. A lot of love that not only our congregants feel, but the community feels. You know what I mean? They know that they can lean on us when they are in need, whether they are faithful members or not. They know that they can come to Greater and get encouragement, get love, get provision if they falling on hard times, you know what I mean? So we just try to model and embody everything Christ has called us to do. That's led to, like, my ministry as a minister. I actually accepted my call at 17. So I was really young. I was in my senior year of high school. I'm like, Lord, I'm about to go away to college. I'm gonna be playing ball. I'm gonna be on campus. I'm like, no. I'm like, now, God, really? Like, now I'm about to leave school. But he had other plans, and he laughs when we make our own. You know what I mean? And I'm just so glad that we serve a God who's prudent and who's omniscient, because so many of the decisions I've made have saved me from a lot of trouble, saved me from a lot of wickedness in these streets. And shout out to my dad, because as far as like just coming up, it wasn't popular, especially we were going, our church originally was like a really starch Baptist church. So this idea of like, your son can rap, it's like, it was shunned, you know, like trustees, deacon board, you know what I mean? And to an extent, rightfully so, because of the misuse and the misappropriation of the gift of rap from other people, right? Like trying to model or embody too much of the world, but not realizing like you have a gift, but you got to use it how God gave it to you to use. And when you find that path and find that uniqueness, even people who don't agree with the genre of hip hop find themselves compelled by what you do, right? So I was 13, I think, and we were at Easter play rehearsal. We were at the Easter play rehearsal because it was Resurrection Sunday was coming up, and I wrote this song, and I'm rapping it at the rehearsal, and the lady who at the time was in charge of the youth and young adult department, she was like, "You should do that Sunday." My dad won't let me do that, you know what I mean? And she said, "I'm gonna ask her." She, "Pastor," his officers up there, "Show me want to rap on Sunday, you gonna let her rap?" And he like, "What?" And she said, "No, it's good." And he said, "All right," put me on the program. People sitting there like, "What is he doing?" You know, and when I went, people were in tears. Old elders, more seasoned saints. The younger people were having a lot of fun with the more seasoned saints were in tears and enjoying. So like things like that, those type of doors have like really solidified and cemented the confidence in my gift. Because I believe it was Peter that wrote, "If any man minister, let him minister as the oracles of God has blessed him." Right? I can't minister at something I'm not good at. I can't go up there and try to do a piano solo, because I play a little keys, but I'm not good.
I got you.
I'm not that good. I can't minister because that's not what the oracles of God has given me to do. But he's given me something that's unique to me, that's unique to my generation, that, to be honest, has won souls. So you can't tell me it's not what God gave me.
Oh, so I know it is.
You brought me on the road with you to go do tent services in Connecticut. Man, you know, listen, they was lined up outside the gate, gangsters bandanas on, to stop listening, you know. So I love what I do, and I'm just grateful that like I didn't have to fight my leadership to say this is something God gave me, but I have to suppress it because you don't believe in it.
Sure.
I got the freedom to do it, and that's how I got where I am now, to be honest. A lot of challenges, to be honest, I think. Well, let me say this. God has this way of like preparing you when eyes are not on you, so that when eyes do get on you, he's already built you for this. Almost, you know, I think probably the most popular story would probably be somebody like David, right? Like, he's prepping in the background, he's prepping in the backyard. But really, it was for a bigger stage, that when eyes came on him, there was no shame in stepping forth and fighting and doing what you were already doing just without the eyes.
Okay.
A lot of times, the lack of eyes is really a test of your integrity. Do you need validation from people before you actually thank God and let God use you, right? Like, I was writing before people knew I could write. I was prepping before people knew I was prepping. I was studying the word and getting deeper in the word before people knew that's what I was doing. So the year before I decided to accept my call into ministry, God had me do something really weird. I was like 16. I was like 10th grade going into 11th grade. And even though my first performance, so to speak, was at my church, I grew up in the hood. So we used to battle rap on the corners and like people testing your pen, testing your ability, testing your skills. Lunchtime cafeteria, making beats on the table, making songs going off the top of the head. People challenge you, and you like, well, I'm better than you. So now you find yourself battling it and doing things not necessarily and saying things not necessarily for the glory of God. But when I was 16, God had me do something really weird. Even though I was starting to write secular music and try to fit in with my peers and the people in my neighborhood, the Crips and all that other stuff who was doing this and things like that, I woke up out of my sleep and he was just like, get rid of all your rap books. And I mean, I had probably as high as this desk. I mean, just every page, every line filled out of just rhymes. And that I just had to memorize just in case anybody wanted to test my skill. Like I'm just ready to go. So I had to rap. I'm like, this is good. This is good stuff. Get rid of it. Like, scrap all of this. And I just had to get rid of it. I threw all my books out. And I said, I only want you to do this for me. And gave me a fresh start. So I had then already started preparing myself for like, okay, something different is happening. You know what I mean? Like God is doing something different. Then that summer, I just started questioning the Bible more, questioning the Word more, challenging certain theories that I was so-called told. Started investing in myself, buying more books. And some of it wasn't even to be like a better Christian. It was really like, is this real? Let me challenge my theology. Let me challenge my Christology. So I started buying more study Bibles. I was working at Kmart over the summer. I would use some of my money. I was buying study Bibles, buying more books that like coincided with the Bible, just so I could have a grip on things. And I'm like, wait. My heart's getting more and more compelled, more and more compelled, more and more compelled. By the time I went through all of that, I went through the circuitous path to get back to your question. By the time I got to the place where I felt God was pulling me into ministry, I had started to make certain changes that my peers were already like, yo, what's going on with you, bro? You know what I mean? Like, I used to travel and play basketball and stuff like that. So like, if I get fouled in a game, I'd be like, oh shoot! I'm like, oh, he don't hurt no more? You know what I mean? Like, stuff just started changing and like, you know what I mean? Like, crap, I missed it. And they're like things, like small things that are subtle, but it's like, there's really a change happening. There's really a shift that's detectable to people who aren't even saved. So by the time I accepted my call in my senior year, I had already started taking on this like ring of leadership at my school. I was president. People know I was only doing faith-based music, so even for the talent shows, I was only performing my hip-hop that was Christian hip-hop. All these things, right? Changing how I'm interacting with people, not being as engaged in, some of the violence and stuff like that I once was. Tell the
truth, shame the devil.
But right. Just, getting into stuff, just being from where I'm from.
Right.
Just having to defend myself and stuff like that, and just handling those situations differently. People start to detect it. So it was kind of like a transition that happened before it happened.
Gotcha.
So before the title happened, the transition started happening. God started doing the work. God started doing the cleaning like he did with Isaiah. Isaiah's like, yo, listen, I'm a man of unclean lips. I was like, let me send this angel, take this coal in your mouth. Shut up. You're gonna speak my word. And it's like, oh, but my friends around me got unclean lips. Man, take this coal in your mouth. You're gonna take this hot coal and you're gonna speak my word. And next thing, Isaiah's he's prophesying. So like, God did all that prep and all those angelic moments before the title. Where it did get really hard was college, right? So like, in college, the biggest transition was I was in a very committed relationship with my now wife. And, you gotta go like, imagine seeing somebody every day, high school sweethearts, even the girls that are like flirting and trying to come after me, they know that's man. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I ain't messing with it, right? And locked us next to each other and knowing what period we gonna meet up in the stairwell before class and passing and all this other stuff. Just having all these things known to he's on a college campus. He's meeting new people. I don't know when to reach out to him to catch him. I don't know when I can get him. I don't know when I can get her. Dad, I got practice. Oh, I got a game. So now it's like, I'm meeting new people. We buying mics and we recording music in the room. Oh, I'm sorry, I was recording. But you told me you was gonna call me. So now friction starts to come, right? And the enemy is busy, right? So now other females start like trying to enter into my life. It was actually a rumor on campus for a long time because I was like stiff arming so many people and so much company. It was like, he a virgin or he gay? Like which one? You know what I mean? Which one is it? You know what I'm saying?
Gotta be one of those.
It was one of those, right? And it was like, nah, I'm just strong. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I had to understand like that strength is not of your own, because people who don't know you are gonna try to label you by what they see, right? And it sort of puts up a barrier to my ability to witness, my ability to connect, because they're like, oh, you different, you weird, do this, do that. So I have certain things that people can connect with, like, yo, he's on the basketball team, he play ball. Right. And it's like, yo, he's a little weird though, he don't come to none of the parties, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, he waits till the party is over, then we go get something to eat, but he's not coming to, like, why is he? So those challenges is like, you don't think you could be 18, 19, 20, and 21 and then still deal with peer pressure. Like, I'm grown now. It's like, no, it still happens. It still happens because people, when they don't understand you, when they don't label you, when they can't label you, identify with that label, they want to pull you down to their level. So I think some of the challenges really wasn't like high school. It was like when I pivoted to college and meeting new people. You know what I mean? So that's where those struggles came from, and having to overcome that and really identify with myself and say, I got to be who I am no matter what.
Yes, Nana, yes. I said, I think he'll take a picture with you. Oh, God, Nana, no. Oh, yes, I want to take a picture with Redeem. You taking a picture with her was like the biggest event of her life. But do you know what that felt like for a grandmother to see her granddaughter carrying on like the girls in the world carry on for Justin Bieber and all these other people, and here she is doing it for a godly young man who is preaching the gospel through hip-hop. So I was blessed twice, that not only that I watched what God did with this young man, but I also see the power of the ministry that he has placed in your hands, and how if we push it, if we market it, if we help you get the word out, how many lives can be changed? Yes, I saw it happening in my own. So now let's talk about my favorite song.
What you want to know?
We want to talk about Shipwrecked and how you came about this particular song. And I'm going to share Shipwrecked with y'all. I promise you. I promise you it'll change your life. But here we have the artist himself. So talk to me about how you developed that song.
So sometimes, as I already stated, I'm a minister. There are times where songs or themes for like projects come to me based on like either sermon series that I'm preaching or sermons that I'm dealing with at that time, right? So at the time, I was actually studying Acts chapter 27, and I was dealing with the story in Acts 27. And in that season, unfortunately, we lost Philando Castile at the hands of police brutality. And we lost a couple other people that summer. I'm not going to go down the list, but from the same thing. And I just remember, like, as a black man, being home with my wife and, like, feeling powerless as I watched the news. I was just like I cried myself to sleep. I was just sick of it. It was like, here's this man. He's like, officer, I'm an armed carrier. It's in my glove compartment. You're asking, you see the video, he's asking you for your license. You do all the things you're told to do. You show your hands, you tell him, you warn him, you say, my wallet's here, but my gun is also here. I have it. I'm allowed to carry by the amendment that y'all try to uphold as well. And you get shot. And I couldn't stomach that. I was just like, what else to do? Like, and I said this then, I still say this now. People was like, you know, black parents, as a parent now, knowing that I have to do this, it's like, oh, you have to have the talk with your kids about how to deal with police. And I say this, because I know some upstanding police officers. One of my daughter's godfathers is a police officer. He's a sergeant. My brother, your son, who's also a detective, who's an amazing officer. I have good relationships. But I say this, and I said, if a black parent has to have the talk, but a white parent doesn't, it's either there's a talk everybody has to have, or there's not a talk anyone has to have. That shows the flaw in the system.
Yes.
If there's a certain group of people that have to have this conversation, show your hands, don't do this, don't do this. As an adult, I still don't keep my wallet in my pocket when I get in my car. My wallet is in the glove compartment, in my cup holder, so that I don't have to go in my pocket. When I get in my car, I put it in the cup holder. Out of what I've seen. That being said, I went to sleep that night, confused, hurt, bothered, disturbed. My wife didn't even know what to say to me, how to console me, and then this melody just came. I was already in the process of preparing this sermon, but then this melody just came, just like making me feel better, like da 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 da. And I just kept repeating that to myself, and I voice recorded it. I sent it to my producer. I said, yo, I need something with this. I'm feeling something. My heart is heavy. Can we meet at our studio tomorrow? I gotta lay this down. And it went from preparing this sermon about ships falling apart in your life, metaphorically, to actually thinking about how our people got here and across the rest of the world, right? We were carried on ships, but how many of the metaphoric ships have been destroyed, right? Financial hardship we've had to go through. Our kinship has been broken. Our friendships have been broken, right? Like I can go down the list. Our fellowship, right? We had to church and worship in private because we had a way of worshiping that came from our land that the whites could not understand, right? So yeah, we had to sit in their services. It was like, no, we know the God we serve. This is how we worship. And they had to have worship in secret, right? Find the one who knew how to read and get him to get that scripture. And we had to have worship in secret. So even our fellowship had to be broken. All these metaphoric ships that were getting broken apart, but some way, somehow, in 2020, we're still standing, and we're still here, and we're still strong, and we're still thriving. We got talk shows. We're in medicine. We're in pulpits. We're in the communities. We're in activism, right? We're in education. We're in the police force. We're all over, still thriving, in spite of what we're going through. And that song just became a healing balm. As Jeremiah would put it, it became a balm in Gilead, so to speak, at a time that I had to write myself out of pain. I had to write myself out of hurt. And then it ended up being something. Listen, this 2020, that was on a project that I put out in 2017. But yet, it's still promulgating. It's gotten on movies. It's been used, for shows. It's been used to perform for places that are not even like faith-based, but like people come to me crying afterwards, like, oh, that hit my heart, you know what I mean? I needed that. So Shipwrecked is a very, very special song to me. Oh, yeah.
It was special to me from the first time I heard it.
Very, very special song.
There is an anointing on that song. And I've always wanted to ask you, just where did it come from? But it reaches out to so many different generations. It doesn't stop at just the millennials.
Right.
Here we are, the seniors. And I'm feeling da 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 da. Can't tell me I'm not knowing what's going on.
Right.
That's right. I'm at the James concert, baby. I know the song. So I'm telling you, I've been so blessed by your ministry, all of your life, and every step. And I thank God for your parents. The Jerry Detours are just awesome. Reverend Nimrod and First Lady Phyllis. It's such a blessing. And then not just you, but so many talented children in one family. I think every one of you guys has your own special talent that makes this whole family one of those that others look to at these times in our community, and it's really a blessing. And now you're branching off and you're building your own families, and you know, we have to continue to support and love each other. I don't want this to be the last time that you're on The Struggle is Real.
Oh, it won't be.
Definitely.
Definitely.
I want to bring you back. I want people to see your beautiful family.
We can do that.
Definitely, because it's a struggle even staying married, you know, in this society. Absolutely. And when God has blessed you with the one that you can grow with, it's a beautiful thing.
It is.
It's a beautiful thing.
Is.
So I want to thank you for that. I want to share your scripture.
Let's do it.
You know, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I am going to read from Acts 27, starting at the 41st verse. And falling into a place where two seas met, they ran the ship aground, and the forepart struck fast and remained unmovable, but the hinder part was broken with the violence of the waves. And the soldiers' counsel was to kill the prisoners, lest any of them should swim out and escape. But the centurion, willing to save Paul, kept them from their purpose, and commanded that they which could swim should cast themselves first into the sea and get to land. And the rest, some on boards, and some on broken pieces of the ship. And so it came to pass that they escaped all safe to land.
Come on.
Give God some glory for the wonderful things he has done. Thank you again, Redeemed, for being on today. I appreciate you, and I love me some you.
I love you too, Auntie. I love you too.
This is The Struggle is Real.
Forced my ancestors here on their slave ships. Many lost their lives, it could have been a grave ship. Infested with disease, it was a plague ship. Didn't know where they were headed, it was a maze ship. Wooed away from our land with their courtship. De-Africanized the lamb that we worship. And they trampled on the soil of our kingship. Was once royal, but now our queens and our kings shipped to a foreign land acquired with false friendship. Separated families and destroyed kinship. And now when we won't submit to leadership, they forget that we had to watch our leaders whip. So dear America, these are now the fruits of forcing culture compliance, breaking people from roots. But in lieu of trade trips on your slave ships, we still standing to tell you we gon' make it.
Sure. We gon' make it. We gon' make it, sure. We should make it. We gon' make it, sure. We gon' make it. We gon' make it, sure. We gon' make it. We gon' make it pieces. We gon' make it. We gon' make it, sure. We should make it. We gon' make it, sure. We gon' make it. We gon' make it, sure. We gon' make it. We gon' make it.
Sing it with me. Yeah, it's the land of the spirit poor and the dollar rich. Profit chips off of work daddy and mama did. Took our books when we tried to improve scholarship. Grandfather clauses took our voice in their politics. So now I'm blindly loyal to a party, but I don't examine agendas to see if they are for me. But after years of lies, it's all the same words. Left wing or right wing still attached to the same bird.
So now it's time to change up the manuscript. It's time to take flight from the landing strip. Break bread at the table of companionship.
Put together all these pieces that we've managed with. Been disadvantaged with some mismanagement. but we handled it, and now our hands are fists. Raised to the skies, we all board the mothership and dispose of the curses from those other ships.
We gon' make it, we gon' make it sure. We shit gon' wreck it, we gon' make it sure. We gon' make it, we gon' make it sure. We gon' make it, we gon' make it pieces. We gon' make it, we gon' make it sure. We shit gon' wreck it, we gon' make it sure. We gon' make it, we gon' make it sure. We gon' make it, we gon' make it. Da 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 da. We gon' make it, we gon' make it. We gon' make it, we gon' make it. We gon' make it, we gon' make it, we gon' make it. We gon' make it, we gon' make it, we gon' make it. We gon' make it, we gon' make it. We gon' make it.